His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa sent a cable of congratulations to His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco on the occasion of Morocco's Throne Day. In the cable, His Majesty expressed his best wishes to the Moroccan monarch for good health and happiness, and to the people of Morocco further progress and prosperity under His Majesty's wise leadership. His Majesty the King praised the strong fraternal relations between Bahrain and Morocco and the development and growth they are witnessing in various fields, stressing the need to continue working to develop joint work and cooperation to achieve common goals and meet the aspirations and ambitions of the two brotherly peoples. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, visited the new royal horse stables of the Bahrain Defense Force Royal Guard. His Majesty was accompanied by the personal representative of His Majesty the King, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and a group of Royal Guard cavalry accompanied His Majesty's motorcade. Upon His Majesty's arrival, he was received by the National Security Advisor and Royal Guard Commander, Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the Commander of the Royal Guard Special Force, Commander Staff Colonel His Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Hamad Al Khalifa, as well as the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Diab bin Sagr al Naimi, and the Deputy Commander of the Royal Guard, Major General Hamad Khalifa al Naimi. Then the band played the royal anthem.
سيدي صاحب الجلالة ملك الميلاد المعظم سلام
During the visit, His Highness Sheikh Nasser briefed His Majesty the King on the new royal horse stables of the Royal Guard and the ceremonial and cavalry group command and its facilities and stables, expressing his admiration and happiness for what he witnessed during the visit. His Majesty praised the many different sports achievements of the Royal Guard, especially in equestrian and horse racing, where they won many regional and international championships and were characterized by perseverance and raised the flag of their country high. His Majesty commended their participation in national events and celebrations. His Majesty thanked His Highness Sheikh Nasser and all the members of the Royal Guard for carrying out their noble national duties and tasks with high efficiency and loyalty, working with various BDF weapons, wishing them all continued success. At the end of the visit, Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser presented a commemorative gift to His Majesty the King on the occasion.
The Kingdom of Bahrain has become a model in horse care and in achieving championships and top positions regionally and internationally. Horse sports receive the support of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, who has emphasized that horse racing receives considerable attention as an authentic Arab sport that Bahrain is keen to preserve. To achieve the aspirations of His Majesty the King, the government, under the leadership of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, has been harnessing all the means to ensure the success of the sport, making the kingdom a host for horse-related events and races. His Royal Highness affirmed that the distinguished organization of local and international horse races by the kingdom is a source of pride, achieved through the efforts of the people of Bahrain, who embody its exceptional potentialities that contribute to enhancing the sport's status on the international sports map. As a result of this support and these efforts, Bahrain left its mark in local, regional, and international events. As a representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs and commander of the royal team, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa continued his successes in foreign competitions, as well as the crowning of the riders of the royal team and the teams representing Bahrain in various equestrian sport events, demonstrating the integrated effort of all horse affair authorities in Bahrain. The achievements of Bahrain, represented by its riders, and the events organized by the kingdom affirm that horse-related sports are an authentic Bahraini heritage, especially since the Al Khalifa family was known for its interest in horses and horse-related sports, and its preservation of the original breeds that were known by their names and stalls. The 20th century was a witness to the development and interest in the sport in Bahrain, as the Rashid Equestrian Club was established in 1977 during the reign of the late Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa.
Military sports enjoy the support of His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, which contributed to its development and made it a major contender for top positions in various championships. In light of this development, military teams in equestrian sports are achieving honorable results and winning International Military Sports Forum. More in this report.
The royal patronage of sports in all its fields has resulted in Bahraini athletes winning top places in foreign participations. Military sports has received the support of His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, which reflected positively on the team's honorable results in various championships held in brotherly and friendly countries. Bahrain's riders and horses stood out among the participants of their military peers in many championships. The members of the Bahrain Defense Forces military equestrian team have won first place in the 22nd Military World Show Jumping Championship, which was held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 2021. The Ministry of Interior's teams also reflected the progress in Bahraini sports, where the show jumping team won the top places in the second round of the international championship La Caccia Garda Tour, which was held in Italy with the participation of 142 riders representing 16 countries. In the UK, the Ministry of Interior's show jumping team also won second place in the team's competition and second and fourth places in the individual competitions as part of the Royal Windsor Horse Show. In addition to sports, the teams are also keen to highlight the national heritage and authentic Bahraini identity at equestrian festivals, which was evident during the participation of the Royal Guard's horses in the closing parade of the Windsor Horse Show in the UK in 2022. These many achievements affirm the determination of the kingdom's citizens to showcase their readiness, professionalism, and abilities to compete for the top positions in all championships. In light of the unlimited support, efforts will continue to be exerted to make achievements in the upcoming championships and raise the name of the Kingdom of Bahrain in international forums.
His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa sent a cable of congratulations to His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco on the occasion of Morocco's Throne Day. Bahrain and Morocco share a strong relation based on many common issues, including political affairs, and this has been achieved through a strengthening of the frameworks of strategic partnerships and enhancing solidarity and cooperation between the governments of the two countries. More in this report.
Between Manama and Rabat, there have been decades of solidarity and bright milestones shaped by the leaders and the people. These milestones are proof of the solid foundations upon which the relations between Bahrain and Morocco are built. Since 1999, a new phase began building on the legacy of the past. The frameworks of strategic partnership and the bonds of solidarity in various fields were strengthened. Both countries have been deeply committed to each other's interests, which has been evident in numerous regional and international positions and forums. When the wise visions of the two leaders align, all the action taken by the governments flow smoothly in line with their enlightened perspectives. Bahrain's commitment to the importance of Morocco, its unity and vital issues, was reflected in opening the Bahraini Consulate General in El Ayoun in the Moroccan Sahara, which was a statement of support for Morocco's sovereignty and national unity. This move reinforces Morocco as one entity and enhances the strong relationship between the two nations. Bahraini-Moroccan relations are characterized by integration and solidarity between the two monarchs and brotherly peoples, which affirms their common destiny.
The Kingdom of Morocco, led by His Majesty King Mohammed VI, continues its development march in all sectors. Morocco has witnessed a qualitative leap in various sectors according to its 2030 vision. More in this report.
The Kingdom of Morocco is moving forward in its development and progress under the wise leadership of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, who has led his country to become in the ranks of developed countries at all levels. On the political level, during the era of His Majesty King Mohammed VI, Morocco witnessed progress and development in its foreign policy, its openness to the world, and its interaction with regional issues through His Majesty's visits to various countries to establish fraternal relations and cooperation to confront challenges, in addition to the continuous support and solidarity with the Palestinian cause. On the economic level, Morocco experienced a qualitative leap for its economy through the launch of many projects and increasing economic cooperation with countries and attracting international investments, the most prominent of which is the Tanger Med Port Complex project and the high-speed train, which made tourism flourish in the country. The Moroccan monarch has been keen to make many reforms in the country, the most important of which is the constitutional reform, which is a model of a democratic constitution, and the launch of economic workshops in the country that specialize in improving the infrastructure of airports, ports and others, in addition to making reforms in the religious aspect to consolidate moderation and tolerance. His Majesty also launched a series of social projects that focus on education and the protection of children and Moroccans living abroad. The Moroccan monarch also paid considerable attention to women's rights, as the family decree was issued in 2004, which is concerned with women and their rights and emphasizes their role in society. In addition to paying attention to projects related to electricity, His Majesty established the Noor power plant, which is one of the largest power plants in the world.
Speaker of the Council of Representatives Ahmed Lemselem affirmed that Bahrain continues its achievements in combating trafficking in persons, following an integrated and modern procedures under the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and supported by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. On the occasion of the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, the Speaker said that Bahrain's success in maintaining Tier 1 status for the 7th consecutive year in the U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report affirms its great commitment in supporting human rights in all fields. Lemselem highlighted the legislative authority's commitment to develop the legal system through enacting legislations and laws and cooperating with concerned entities to support and promote the culture of human rights. He also added that the legislative authority seeks to highlight Bahrain's achievements in diplomatic parliamentary events. Shura Council Chairman Ali Saleh affirmed that Bahrain's successful accomplishments in combating trafficking in persons reflects its efforts in consolidating human rights principles. Saleh expressed his pride in the support of His Majesty the King to protect human rights and promote coexistence that Bahrain has always been known for. The chairman lauded the plans and programs of the government that aim to highlight the kingdom of the legal field. He commended the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister and his commitment to ensure that government promotes and ensures combating trafficking in persons. As-Saleh praised the role of the Anti-Human Trafficking and Protection of Public Morals Directorate at the Ministry of Interior, the Labour Market Regulatory Authority, and the National Committee for Combating Trafficking in Persons. He hailed the integration of the national legal and legislative systems. Several officials and ministries in Bahrain have affirmed the country's commitment to solidifying its position in combating trafficking in persons based on its belief, principles on authentic Arab and Islamic ethics, as well as its respect for international conventions. On World Day Against Human Trafficking, Attorney General Dr. Ali Al-Buainin underscored the public prosecution's commitment to tackling human trafficking with unwavering resolve within the legal frameworks. He stated that Bahrain boasts a robust system to combat these crimes and stands as one of the pioneers in establishing a specialized prosecution for such offences. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and Chairman of the National Human Rights Committee, Dr. Abdul Latif Al-Zayani, commended Bahrain's advanced system in upholding human rights and combating human trafficking. He highlighted Bahrain's pride in maintaining its prestigious Tier 1 status in global human trafficking efforts, as recognized by the U.S. State Department for 7 consecutive years. The Minister of Labour and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Labour Market Regulatory Authority, LMRA, Jamil Hamidan, emphasized Bahrain's commitment to enhancing its human rights framework, ensuring a stable work environment and combating human trafficking. He highlighted Bahrain's experience as a model for others to emulate, noting its adherence to international standards in combating human trafficking. The CEO of LMRA and Chairman of the National Committee for Combating Trafficking, Nibras Talib, emphasized the coordinated efforts of various government agencies as a model for Bahrain's approach to combating human trafficking. He highlighted Bahrain's commitment to enhancing protection and prevention mechanisms through proactive projects and programs aimed at reducing the risks of human trafficking victimization within the country. The Kingdom of Bahrain affirmed its leadership at the regional and international level in the field of combating trafficking in persons. Bahrain has a unique and distinguished experience in this field, which reflects the keenness of His Majesty the King to respect and preserve human dignity. More in this report.
Its pioneering model on combating trafficking in persons is embodied by achieving Tier 1 status in the U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report for the 7th consecutive year, as well as the laws and conventions to which the Kingdom has acceded to protect human rights and combat trafficking in persons. Bahrain's leading position and international standing in the field of combating trafficking in persons is a high-level human rights achievement, which reflects His Majesty the King's keenness to respect and preserve human dignity and the commitment to implement the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to institutionalize government work within a comprehensive development strategy based on respect for human rights and consolidating the culture of combating trafficking in persons in all concerned government agencies. Bahrain has taken advanced steps in combating trafficking in persons by adopting many pioneering initiatives and effective national projects in cooperation with various entities, and established its position as a country with a rich cultural heritage of national legislation, laws in force, and successful practices in addressing trafficking in persons through its efforts with the various specialized international organizations and diplomatic missions to promote awareness on the rights and duties of protection parties with an integrated system in accordance with the principles of human rights and fundamental freedoms and with the Bahraini Constitution, the National Action Charter, national legislations, and international agreements. The efforts exerted by government agencies and institutions contributed to doubling joint national efforts to address the issue in accordance with advanced scientific methods, which earned the Kingdom the respect of the international community.
The Labour Market Regulatory Authority and the National Committee to Combat Trafficking in Persons play a major role in protecting migrant workers through the specialized centre in this regard, which is one of the most important tools in the anti-trafficking system. Based on Bahrain's keenness to protect the rights of migrant workers, it made many important achievements in combating trafficking in persons, which enabled it to maintain its Tier 1 status in the U.S. State Department's report to combat trafficking in persons, to the only Arab country in the Middle East and North Africa to maintain such a ranking for 7 consecutive years. The National Committee provides specialized programs in combating trafficking in persons, most notably the National Referral System to detect trafficking in persons and exploitation in the work environment. The LMRA's Protection Center aims to preserve the rights of labor parties and ensure the workers' right to litigation in accordance with the international agreements signed by Bahrain in this regard.
The Expat Protection Center, the EPC, was established in 2015 as a key component to the Kingdom of Bahrain's efforts in combating trafficking in persons. The EPC offers an array of protective and preventative services, including assistance, guidance, and legal aid and counseling, in accordance with the best international practices. These services include administrative assistance in filing labor cases and civil cases for registered workers, through preparing case statements, translating supporting documents, and submitting cases in the Ministry of Justice and Islamic Affairs and Waqf system, and following up until the dispute is resolved, as well as receiving expatriate worker grievances against absence from work claims and grievances against validity of work permits. The center is equipped also with a 24/7 tip hotline available to support and that offers support and assistance in multiple languages. The EPC is, as a first responder through all services, provides and screens all situations for indicators of trafficking in persons and exploitation in the work environment, addressing and referring situations which the worker may be in a vulnerable position in conjunction with the relevant authorities within the National Referral Mechanism network. The National Referral Mechanism is a process established to identify and support and follow up victims of trafficking and exploitation in the Kingdom of Bahrain through multiple administrative tools available at the Expat Protection Center, in addition to coordinating efforts with the relevant authorities. The center provides sheltering services dedicated for victims of trafficking in persons, potential victims, and those who are subject to exploitation. Other services include primary medical care and shelter for the shelter beneficiaries in a specialized clinic. The National Referral Mechanism consists of several stages, starting with identification from the moment the situation occurs, documentation in the system, and receiving official classification from the Ministry of Interior and Public Prosecution, providing assistance and support up and until reintegration or voluntary repatriation, all through highly coordinated efforts aligned with national and international standards.
Bahrain achieved a historic accomplishment by maintaining its Tier 1 status for 7 consecutive years in the 2024 U.S. Department of State's report on combating trafficking in persons. The Ministry of Interior, represented by the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Public Morals Protection Directorate at the General Directorate of Criminal Investigation and Forensic Science, made notable efforts through law enforcement and providing necessary assistance to victims. This reflects the effectiveness of the national efforts made in addressing human trafficking and exploitation issues. These tireless efforts have received international praise and appreciation from relevant international organizations in combating this crime, which is rejected by all international norms and religions. The Ministry of Interior, along with relevant authorities, is seeking to create initiatives and programs through continued efforts.
Retained this top-tier ranking, which is a strong testament of Bahrain's dedication towards continuing to put in place really the highest standards in the elimination of trafficking and support to the victims of this crime. So we as IOM are very proud of our partnership with the government, including the Ministry of Interior and other members of the National Committee to combat trafficking in persons. And through this collaboration, we've seen excellent results. And I'll go through maybe just one example. Through the Regional Center of Excellence for Combating Trafficking in Persons, we rolled out specialized trainings for different groups of frontline workers. including the Ministry of Interior and officials from the ministry, in recognition of the crucial role that they play in this process.
In beginning, I want to give thanks to our God. I want to give thanks to the King Hamad. He always push us to be in the first in everything. And also give thanks to the Crown Prince. He also worked very hard with the government. All the government, all the societies, we work together. And I pray we always move from glory to glory in Bahrain.
And to speak more about the issue, we are joined by Major Yusuf Mahmoud Jamal, who is in charge of the Anti-Human Trafficking Division. Hello, Mr. Jamal. Can you tell us about Bahrain's attainment of Tier 1 status for the 7th consecutive year in the U.S. Department of State's report on the classification of countries in the field of combating trafficking in persons?
According to the U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report, which assesses 188 countries worldwide, has affirmed the distinguished international position of the Kingdom of Bahrain in preserving human rights and combating trafficking in persons, as the Kingdom maintains its Tier 1 ranking, which is the highest in the classification for 7 consecutive years. The Kingdom of Bahrain leads the region in achieving this advanced ranking, which reflects the Kingdom's advanced and stable work environment to preserve the rights of all parties without discrimination, with an integrated work system that begins with prevention through proactive and subsequent awareness, all the way to protection and equity, in accordance with the human rights principles and fundamental freedoms.
And how would you describe the cooperation of Bahrain in coordinating and mobilizing efforts at various national and international levels among all the relevant parties?
The Ministry of Interior is keen, through its cooperation with various relevant government and non-governmental entities, to keep the Kingdom free from this global crime in all its forms, and to confront it and develop mechanisms capable of eliminating it in the event that indicators of its existence appear. In addition to the fact that the Ministry is taking a set of measures to ensure coordination and cooperation between government and non-governmental entities to combat this crime, the Directorate of Anti-Human Trafficking and Protecting Public Morals is considered the executive engine of the National Committee to Combat Trafficking in Persons. The Directorate conducts search operations to find victims of trafficking, freeing them in record time, taking legal actions against who exploited and trafficked them, and bringing them to justice.
And that was Major Yusuf Mahmoud Jamal, who is in charge of the Anti-Human Trafficking Division. Thank you very much for joining us. The U.S. Ambassador of Bahrain, Stephen Bondi, stressed the importance of Bahrain's achievement in the field of combating human trafficking, pointing out that the kingdom's retention for 7 consecutive years of its Tier 1 status in the U.S. State Department's report on combating human trafficking for 2024 is an important achievement and recognition of Bahrain's continuous efforts to combat all forms of crimes related to human trafficking.
I congratulate Bahrain on its exceptional leadership on trafficking in persons issues and for achieving Tier 1 status on the Department of State's 2024 TIP report. This marks the 7th consecutive year that Bahrain has achieved Tier 1 status, demonstrating its commitment to supporting human rights and combating human trafficking. Over the last 7 years, Bahrain has fully met the standards to combat trafficking and has continued to demonstrate serious and sustained anti-trafficking efforts. We enjoy excellent government-to-government communication and cooperation on initiatives to counter trafficking. I commend the Labor Market Regulatory Authority for its highly effective work in this field and its role as a regional leader. Bahrain has consistently worked to protect the rights of domestic workers, migrant workers, and victims of all forms of human trafficking. Bahrain delivers assistance to vulnerable workers through its government shelter and has developed screening mechanisms to identify trafficking victims. The Bahraini government is taking steps to raise public awareness about trafficking, prevent fraudulent recruitment, and ensure workers and employers know both their rights and their responsibilities. Each year, as part of our Trafficking in Persons report, the United States government provides recommendations to partner countries. This year, we encourage Bahrain's government to continue implementing important screening mechanisms to identify and assist trafficking victims, expand protections for domestic workers, and bolster efforts to combat and convict traffickers. Once again, I commend Bahrain for its efforts to combat human trafficking and for the strong partnership between our two countries.
GCC Secretary General Jassim Libdewi affirmed that human trafficking threatens all of humanity and is one of the most heinous crimes violating human rights. He affirmed that GCC countries have given significant attention to combating human trafficking in line with their commitment to Islamic law and regulations that preserve human dignity. This commitment is also reflected in the GCC's Human Rights Declaration, which prohibits slavery, servitude, and all forms of human trafficking. The Secretary General noted that the Supreme Council approved the Abu Dhabi document on a unified system for combating human trafficking for GCC countries during its 27th session in 2006. The Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Adil Al-Assoumi, lauded Bahrain's achievement in combating trafficking in persons, consolidating human rights, protecting basic freedoms, and ensuring equal treatment before the law. Al-Assoumi affirmed that Bahrain continues its lead both regionally and internationally in combating trafficking in persons in all its forms. He pointed to Bahrain's unique experience in this field as it reflects His Majesty the King's commitment in ensuring the respect of human dignity. The Speaker also highlighted Bahrain's success in maintaining Tier 1 status for the 7th consecutive year in the U.S. State Department's Trafficking in Persons report.